Hello everybody, today I'm going to be answering the age-old question, what is a Megaminx? Okay, but what actually is this thing though? Every side of the Megaminx has a pentagon on it, making this a dodecahedron. Big words, right? Believe it or not, to solve a Megaminx, it's literally just like a 3x3. For example, this would be your cross, except it's a star. Then you do F2L, just like on a 3x3 again. After F2L, you'd basically make big chunky cross pieces over here. So you're basically repeating the first steps of 3x3. Then you'd do F2L again. Orient the edges. Put the edges in the right spot. Orient the corners. You'd solve the last layer just like you would on a 3x3. Next question. Is it possible to do the checkerboard pattern on a Megaminx? So all that the checkerboard pattern needs is to have the same corners in the right spot, but opposite edges. And since the Megaminx is just like a 3x3, I'm hoping it will be able to make the checkerboard pattern. Sadly, getting the checkerboard pattern on a Megaminx is impossible because there are 3 edges that are solved, but the other 2 are not, which is not possible on a Megaminx. So there's only one way around this. So I swapped the 2 pieces, and now in theory this should be solvable. And there we go. This pattern is beautiful. My biggest regret is that this is not possible on a regular Megaminx. Because I had to swap the 2 pieces, it is technically impossible. That being said, this is probably the coolest pattern that I've ever seen on any puzzle. I was, however, able to make this dot pattern. This pattern gives off the illusion that I swapped around the centers, when instead I moved all the other pieces around and just put them around different centers. So instead of the gray being over here, it's where the orange is. And instead of the orange being here, it's where the green is. I did that for all of the pieces and then I just solved the cube like that. On 3x3, this is called the cube in a cube pattern because there's a cube inside of a cube, inside of a cube. And this is on both sides. I tried to replicate it on the Megaminx, and this is what I got. I think it's pretty cool. And then on the other side, it looks like this. Now, you can do this with any colors. I started with white, blue, and yellow, and then in the middle layer, I don't even know what happened here, but the centers are just kind of swapped. Double moves don't really work the same on Megaminx. If you were to do U2, I'd end up with blue in the front. But if I did U2 prime, I get yellow in front. This is because there are 5 sides to the Megaminx on every face. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when I turn, there are 5 different sides that will show up. Meaning that if I were to do a double move, it's not the same as if I do it the other way. Another thing about Megaminx is that there is no M move, or there are no middle layer moves, because this is really weird. It doesn't work that well, and it's really impractical. I mean, I guess you could do this. But there's literally no use for that. So, yeah, there are just no M moves. So, is a Megaminx worth it? Well, there's not much you can compare a Megaminx to because it's so unique. It's very similar to 3x3, but the next closest thing I'd say is probably 5x5. I say 5x5 because the whole solve is pretty much like a 3x3, but it's also like a 5x5 because there are more pieces, it takes longer to solve, you gotta think more than you do on a 3x3. For me, when I got this Megaminx, I had fun with it for about a week, but then I didn't really touch it for a while. Megaminx is one of those puzzles that nobody really talks about, but it's pretty cool the first time you try it. Megaminx feels like somebody made a challenging 3x3. Like, they made 3x3, and then they just made it harder. Also, the logo of my Megaminx faded off a while ago, so...
Hello there.